Hello everybody and welcome to the review of the URC round 14, and what drama. There's been some absolute stunning results this week and some controversies. So let's get right into it then. My predictions didn't go too great because there was some quite big shocks. And let's just get into it. So starting off, and we'll start off with some of the biggest drama of the weekend as Ulster get the win over Cardiff, 19 points to 17, and there was two Cardiff tries here that were ruled out over questionable instances. One was for the Ulster player kind of kicking it out his hands in a try-saving tackle. Lots of debate if that was a try or not. I'm not sure on that one. I'm not overly too clear, and I've not really, I don't know. I can see why people think it's a perfectly fine tackle. He technically does dislodge it, but I can also see, you're not allowed to kick it out the player's hand, so I can also see it there. So, and then there was the last one, the deliberate knock-on where Cardiff scored in the last minute of the game to secure the win, basically, and the referee came back and deemed that they deliberately knocked it on, giving Ulster a penalty which actually led them to kick it and win the game. And again, I put a short up about this yesterday, and it's had a bit of a debate, and after talking to a few people and having a think, I don't think that should have been ruled out. I think that should have been a try. In my personal opinion, I actually think the Cardiff player hits it backwards. So, how can you have a deliberate knock-on if you've hit it backwards? So, I do think Cardiff have been hard done by there. I don't agree with what the Welsh Rugby did, though, and put a massive statement out saying how they were cheated and robbed. That's just not the way you do it. Stuff like this happens, and you've just got to get on with it. You've just got to accept it and move on. The referees are only human at the end of the day. Next up though, we move on to Scotland, where Glasgow get a big win against the Sharks. Now I think Glasgow will be kicking themselves a little bit here as they actually failed to get that fourth try. Now Sharks have been decent so far, so it's doing them a bit of unjust here, but they were 21 points to the good at half time. They'd scored 21. They had all of the second half to score that fourth try and just couldn't. The Sharks though, I just think this would have been a tough game for them, even if they weren't playing as well as they have been of recent. Scotstoun in the URC, no one's won at Scotstoun, and teams like Leinster and Stormers have tried and not succeeded, so it's understandable that Glasgow got their big win, but I think that's a big loss for Glasgow, especially because of the next result that I'm going to talk about, which is the Leinster Lions game. And Lions, oh my goodness, 44 points to 12 in favour of the South Africans, the only South African team to win this week. Might spoil something there for you, but what a win for the Lions. Leinster, yes, they did field out a weaker team, but they can't use that as an excuse. Lions played them off the park. They really did. They scored in they scored 3 in 20-0 up at 20-minute mark. They were on the hunt for the bonus point at 20 minutes. Just impeccable from the South African side. And Leinster well and truly beaten, and that actually means that the table's really close, and I'll get to the table after I've sorted all the games, but massive one for the Lions. Next up, slightly more expected result, slightly more tame result of the weekend. Benetton 36, Dragons 19. Big win for the Italians at home, definitely boosting their top 8 chances back up into a decent place, sitting 5th. Dragons still second from bottom, failed to get that fourth try, but a big win for Benetton in a game you'd expect them to probably get a decent result in. No offence to the Dragons, of course, but Benetton delivered what they asked them to. They got a decent win, won by about 17 points, so, decent result for them there. Next up, though, another absolute monster result as Bulls hosted Munster, and Munster get the win, and I believe it was a bonus point win for the Irish side, winning 22 points to 27. Absolutely huge result for Munster and their top four hopes to get that home quarter final, the reigning champions. They're unstoppable. They're 8 in a row against South African sides or something like that. Mental. Absolutely unstoppable from the Irish side. They just seem to be able to always win against South African opponents. And they've turned everything around. They went from, they were 10th in the table back at Six Nations time, and they're now 3rd, and I think they're quite comfortably in 3rd, although again I'll get to the table in a second. And then the next result, I'd argue, most people would say it's an absolute bigger result. Stormers 21, Ospreys 27. Ospreys with an absolutely monumental win in Cape Town against the Stormers. Wow. Ospreys beat Stormers, and it's not as if, it was a cheesy win. Ospreys beat them. They well and truly beat them, and they were better. I think that expansive Stormers play is starting, it's brilliant to watch. I absolutely love watching the Stormers play. But their issue is that when the way they play doesn't always work, they're gonna get beat because they're that wide and expansive that they will leave places exposed, and the Ospreys managed to exploit that and get an absolute massive win there. Not massive scoreline wise, but massive in terms of the playoff hopes. Ospreys are still in the top 8. Absolutely brilliant from the Welsh side. Next up, again, another slightly more tame result. Connacht Zebra in Ireland, 54-16. Big result for Connacht. They needed a big win. They're obviously in that massive tussle for the top 8, the race for 8, as the URC are calling it. And that massive win, winning by 38 points, getting a good bonus point win for them. They need that, you need to get some big wins. And, you look at some of the other results, and if you're playing a team like Zebra, then you do need a big result, and that's a big game. That's a good win for Connacht. And then the last game of the weekend, another kind of expected result, Edinburgh versus Scarlets, and the Scottish side running out and winning 43-18. Again, as I said for the Connacht game, that's a game you'd expect them to go out and probably get a decent result in, and they do. They win by about 25, which is a good winning margin for Edinburgh. They've struggled to get bonus points this season. If you look at number of wins, Edinburgh should be 4th or 5th in the table based off wins, but they're just not getting bonus points. I think they've only got 3, but they've won the same number of games as Bulls and Benetton, who are 4th and 5th. But they're down in 8th because they're just not getting the bonus points. But, to pick up a bonus point at home to Scarlets, that's huge for their race for 8th. Absolutely monumental for Edinburgh as well. And then just to finish off, I'll go through the table as we look into next week. We've got 4 more rounds, of games left. So some big results and some big games coming up. At top, you've got Leinster still on 54. Second, you've got Glasgow on 53. So that's a huge, that's what I was saying. Glasgow not getting that 4th try against Sharks has damaged them quite a lot, and I think if Glasgow would have got 2 more tries, they would have been sitting top of the table. They're tied on wins. Glasgow are 1 behind, which would have got the bonus point, and they're 11 points difference behind. So, a couple more tries for Glasgow and they'd be sitting top of the table. But, still, they're sitting comfortably in second. In third, you've got Munster on 48 points. Fourth, you've got Bulls on 46. And now is where it gets interesting. Fifth, you've got Benetton on 42. Sixth, Stormers on 40. Seventh, Ospreys on 40. Eighth, Edinburgh on 39. Ninth, Connacht on 39. 10th Ulster on 39, 11th Lions on 39. So you're looking there, why are Edinburgh top? Number wins. Edinburgh have won 9, Connacht have won 8, Ulster have won 8, Lions have won 7, and between Connacht and Ulster it's points difference. So although Edinburgh's got a low points difference, because they've won 9 of their 14, which, you know, should put them up with Munster, Bulls and Benetton. But that one bonus point, you look, Bulls and Munster have 10 bonus points. Benetton only have 4, but still, you know, Benetton also have a draw as well, so they've got 9 wins and a draw. But yeah, moving on for the last teams. 12th, you've got Connacht on 25, 13th Sharks on 18, 14th Scarlets on 16, 15th Dragons on 15, and 16th Zebra on 15. So again, you know, some absolutely huge results for these teams. Yeah, going in, it's almost impossible to predict what's going to happen, and I think it's that tight that who knows. You know, you've still got 6 teams all fighting out for 4 spaces. Is that right? No, 8 teams for 4 spaces, sorry. So, you know, it's 4 games left, it's going to be close. I reckon for those 8 teams, if they win at least 2 of the remaining 4 games, they should be okay. That's roughly what I'm figuring out. If they win 2, and also depends on bonus points, if they get a couple of big wins, then they should be okay, as I reckon 50 would be safe. So, you know, you look at the teams on like 40, 39, 40, you know, if they can get up to roughly 50, I reckon they're going to be okay. That's roughly what I said. So I think 50 points is where you aim, so you look 2, maybe 3 wins is what's needed. And yeah, so that's it for the video. Thank you very much for watching. What a weekend of rugby, and thank you very, very much for watching. I shall see you absolute legends later. Let me know your thoughts on the game as well. Thank you.